Today we're chatting through my most worn staples for autumn. If you're new here and you don't know how this works, I track what I wear every single day and I've been doing this for years. It's great because it gives me so much data about what I'm actually reaching for, and I also find it a really useful tool when it comes to wardrobe planning. Now, I'm going to be talking autumn today, though if you're in the southern hemisphere like I am and want to see what my winter most worn items are, I will be doing a full recap over on my Substack and on my website. So I'll link those down below in case you'd like to go and check them out instead, but that'll be coming a little bit later. But I do just want to highlight one thing that I realized when I was looking at the rail. Everything is really dark. It's either charcoal, navy, or black. And I realize as I've been actually tracking and logging my outfits in the Index app, and I'm gonna put a little overview here, a lot of the items that I wear, at least on my lower half, tend to be darker because I have young children. I'll wear lighter colors when they are at daycare and it's work day for me, but otherwise I prioritize things that are going to be much more practical and easy to care for, and this is definitely part of the season of life that I'm in. So do with that information as you wish, but most of these items come in other colors anyway. And of course, I feel like we have to start with most worn knitwear because to me, when I think of autumn, that is kind of the first thing that comes to mind. And I have two sweaters that were most worn tied, and they're basically variations on each other. So I'm going to start with my Quince one. I get loads of questions on how to buy Quince even though I'm not based in America, and I use mail forwarding. I used to use Ship It Too, but I've recently swapped to Planet Express and I actually find that they're much faster and also more affordable. So I'll link that down below for anyone who has really wanted to buy something from them. But this has been hands down probably one of my favorite purchases from the brand. I will say it's starting to look a little bit bobbly now, but essentially relaxed cashmere sweater in a dark charcoal grey has kind of been my number one go-to. And I like this one in particular because it's a little bit longer, so it doesn't highlight my hips, which are my widest part, and it also looks really chic when worn tucked in. It has that nice kind of soft texture to it, and yeah, it's held up really well, although it's in need of a little bit of a debubble, especially at the back, where there's been a little bit of friction probably against my jackets, but overall, hands down, I think this is 100% worth it. And if you're considering buying one of their $50 cashmere crews but want something that feels a little bit more relaxed, this is the one that I would opt for. I think the cashmere on it is a little bit thicker too. As mentioned, my sweaters were tied for equal first place, and the other one that I ended up wearing the most over autumn was my Frankie Shop knit. And this is the Rhea knit. It is a cotton and merino wool blend. And I've just found this to be such a hidden gem from the brand. I know people tend to focus more on their suiting, but you need to have a look at their knitwear, especially their natural fiber pieces, because it's held up so well, doesn't have any pilling. I love how kind of oversized and very Scandi cool this feels. It's essentially more of a dialed up, fashion forward moment than the Quince sweater, so you can probably see why I interchangeably wore them both so much. I have this in the small. It is currently on sale as well. I've spotted it for 50% off, so I think that's an incredible steal. If I was going to say I had any particular gripes with this knit, I would say that this one actually does cut me off at my widest point, so it can sometimes be a little bit awkward, and I will always wear it with a darker colored trouser as I feel like it is a lot less noticeable, but overall, such a favorite for me. Now, when it came to tops, I noticed that there was not a single one in my closet that stood out. It was because I rotated through them all equally. I have kind of a glut of white t-shirts in my wardrobe, and I will literally wear every single one of them in a week, especially if I'm reaching for a more casual outfit. But the cyclical nature meant that I really didn't favor any particular one. So next I want to talk about most worn jeans, and it's interesting to me because when I was going back and reviewing the jeans that I had worn the most, I realized that now I have a different pair which I actually think are better, but I'm going to talk through both of them. So it was the Arket Rose crop jeans, and I do believe that they're discontinuing these. I actually had an unfortunate incident when I was doing laundry and I got a bit of bleach on the side, so these have now kind of become my run around. You know, if I'm doing things around the house, I'll reach for these because I'm not too worried if they get beat up. They have a bit of stretch to them, which is great, and I think if you're someone who is incorporating a lot of movement into their day, you want to be thinking about that stretch element to your jeans. However, I always recommend no more than kind of 2 to 3% elastane, because then that means that your denim will have longevity and they're not going to bag and stretch out. Like if they have a high quantity of elastane in them, you'll probably need to replace them after about a year, especially if you wear them on a heavy basis. So these ones I like because they've got the high rise, but I realized that I think the crop is just ever so slightly too cropped for me. For reference, I'm 172 centimeters tall. However, I do have a shorter inseam. So my inseam is about 69 centimeters to the very top of my ankle bone. So I'm always looking for that perfect balance of high-rise jean paired with the leg length that is going to be most flattering, at least most elongating visually on the leg. And I ended up ordering this particular pair from Totem, which you will have seen in my premium denim try on. If you haven't watched that, I'll link it up in the cards. Now, these ones don't actually have any stretch to them, but I have noticed since I've worn them, they've given a little bit, which makes them a lot more comfortable to wear. And I'm reaching for them a lot already. It's currently winter here, so I know that they're going to be a firm staple. What I like about these is that they're actually a bit longer through the leg, and also they have the distressed raw edged hem, which means that you have that flexibility with getting them altered if you need to get them taken up at all if you are petite, because it's a very, very simple alteration and it's not going to change the look of the hem of the jeans. Even when you keep the original hem, I feel like you can always kind of tell that they've been altered. Whereas if it is a raw hem, then it doesn't matter. I feel like it always looks very consistent. But these are really nice premium denim. I am also currently really rating H&M for their jeans. There's a particular pair which are kind of a affordable alternative to Henny's always sold out Valentina jeans, which I'm going to link those down below too, in case you have been looking for something that is kind of under $60. Moving on to my most worn trousers, and this was an interesting one for me because I have really kind of gone into that world of wearing the full length fluid drape pant, and I love it because it does add length. It feels really easy, relaxed. It has this element of polish, but also it doesn't feel any more difficult to reach for than the crop trouser that I was favoring a lot pre-2020. But one of my most worn trousers for autumn were these high-waisted crop tapered pair from Dish. These are on sale actually, and I think that they are fabulous because you can throw them in the washing machine. They are so easy to look after, and you can see this is this is a really important factor in terms of me actually reaching for something all the time. If I can't look after it easily, then I'm probably going to let it languish at the back of my closet. But I like the fact that they haven't pilled at all. And one of my little bugbears with the Rowan pant from Dish is that it did pill up quite considerably, and I found that I was having to use my fabric shaver after every wash, which is totally fine, and I'm happy to do that because I think wardrobe maintenance is something that we need to be cognizant of, and also actually putting that time into looking after and caring for the clothes that we have. But it's always nice when something is very low maintenance and doesn't require any upkeep like that, and that's why I think I ended up reaching for these so much. The dark cray color is really, really nice. I do think they've got a full length version of this though. If you don't want the crop pant tapered look, I think they do the fluid drape in the exact same fabrication, so I will try and link those ones below. But this color, charcoal, it works with everything, and it's a nice way to add contrast into your outfit that feels a little bit more subtle, or at least a little bit more dialed down than black. So 10 out of 10, love those. Then moving on to my most worn coat, and this particular one is sold out, but maybe they're going to bring it back because COS always do that. It is this scarf coat from COS in a navy wool. It's a double-faced wool. It has the completely attached scarf around the collar, which you can kind of just casually throw over your shoulder, feel very Scandinavian, very, very cool. And then it's got the buttons down the front. It's collarless, really slouchy, pockets on the hips. I size down in this because it is tremendously oversized. Quince do a really good dupe of the Totem scarf coat, and I'm pretty sure they're going to bring it back in stock, so I'd probably just sign up for the alerts if you really like that and you're in America. Otherwise, Marl have a really beautiful version. I will see if I can find some retailers that currently have it in stock that ship globally, and I'm sure there are other brands doing this. I think And Other Stories might have done something like this as well. I mean, they're owned by the H&M group, so that is very unsurprising, but I was actually kind of shocked that this was one of my favorites, and really the only reason why this made it in here is because I took this coat with me when I went to New Zealand for a friend's wedding, and I wore this every single day that I was there. I very infrequently needed to reach for a jacket or anything like that. I live in Sydney. It is so mild and it's quite comparable to LA in terms of the weather, so this was not on heavy rotation at all, just within a short period of time. But I'm overall really happy with it, and I have said in the past that I think COS do beautiful quality coats, especially if you're looking at their 100% wool styles. The last clothing item that I have to hero here is my beloved Goelia trouser skirt, which I'm so thrilled to see they've actually brought back, which is great because I think the cut, the style of this is just very classic, and it's also very affordable because it's under $100. I do have a couple of discount codes with them, which I will pop next to the link for the skirt in case you would like to go and check it out. But the thing I really like about this is that it has the elasticated waist at the back, so it's very comfortable. If you are someone who is prone to bloating, then you'll know just how valuable it is to have this little detail in the back of your trousers, because it makes a world of difference. If you would like to see a video just on the best types of clothing to add to your wardrobe, if you're someone who fluctuates with weight, or maybe you're kind of going through a period in your life where you have a changing body, let me know, as I've been thinking about this a lot recently just with discussions I've been having with people. But it has a little side slits, which I like because you get that movement when you're walking, and I love a skirt that kind of moves with you. It's a reason why I love a pleated skirt. And yeah, again, another really easy to care for one. This will pill a little bit though, so fabric shaver needs to be on hand, but absolutely stunning, and I feel like I always look very polished whenever I'm wearing it. Then I just want to chat through my most worn accessories, and we'll do bag first. And it was a toss-up between these two here, which are two different kind of shapes, sizes, which I think is probably why I reach for them equally so much. So we'll start with the small one first. This one is from Oroton. I got it from the outlet, and unfortunately they don't ship outside of Australia and New Zealand for the outlet. I just want to mention this here because I get quite a few messages telling me that. But if you are in Australia and New Zealand and you kind of love Oroton, I highly recommend checking their outlet because most of the bags are kind of around the 50% off mark. But the leather quality is really beautiful, and this reminds me a little bit in terms of the functionality of the Celine Trio. And when I am using a bag, how functional it is and how easily I can organize my life play a huge role. So I like that I can compartmentalize all of the different things that I'm carrying with me to easily find them, which makes a huge difference when you have young children who are kind of pulling at your jacket or your jumper while you're at the checkout trying to pay. And then my other most worn bag was my Madewell bucket tote, which I think is going to go down as one of my favorite wardrobe additions of the year. This has actually been such a game changer. I have done a full review of this over on my website, which I will link down below. I've talked about this bag, I feel like ad nauseum at this point, but it has an adjustable strap, which means it can be worn crossbody. It fits a laptop. This fits everything you need if you're a mum and you're going to the park with your baby. It fits everything you would need for a day out in the city, snacks, lunchbox, drink bottle, small umbrella. I mean, I just have not found an occasion that I wouldn't need to use this, and this is a bag that I've taken with me traveling. I mean, it's starting to look a little bit worn now because my kids have this habit of, when I've packed it with snacks and things, we've come home from the park, they'll rummage through it, they'll pull everything out, they'll kind of scratch at it. So I can see a couple of little scuff marks, but I'm planning to get some conditioner and just kind of work that into the leather, and then I think it should end up looking really nice again. It's just got one internal pocket, raw leather interior, and a magnet closure, which is medium in terms of security. I haven't had any color transfer with mine, and I've kind of got the, I think it's called chocolate raisin color. A really beautiful bag, and I think you can see a difference between the purpose of each style, the smaller crossbody bag or shoulder bag for when I just need the essentials, and then this larger bucket tote for when I need to carry everything in the kitchen sink with me. But yeah, those were my most worn bags. And then for shoes, it was my Everlane Day ballet flats and then my Loeffler Randall woven flats. Now, the Everlane Day ballet flats are looking very, very worse for wear, and I've actually just replaced them with the Day gloves, which of the two styles, I prefer the Day gloves. If you're kind of toying between the two, I think the leather on the Day gloves is nicer. It's this beautiful kind of soft, slightly pebbled leather. It actually has more of a softer feel to it as well. And I also think that the design looks nicer, more sleek on the foot. So that's my personal recommendation. I found that these ones looked a lot more beat up, a lot faster. The Loeffler Randall flats, I just put those other ones down, but the Loaf Lorandle flats I really was drawn to because of the texture, and I think this is a nice way to add in an additional element of kind of visual interest to your outfits. I will say that, yeah, like they're great for wide feet. These are one of the most comfortable pairs of shoes that I own, but you do get these little pockets of skin peeking out because woven leather doesn't have any backing to it. And I personally don't mind this, but I think it doesn't look quite as sophisticated and polished as if it did have that backing, but that's probably why they're so comfortable and very, very suitable for wide feet. They are looking a little bit battered now, but one key thing, and it was my friend Sina, who has the channel Use Less, who really distilled this into a concept that I find was like, yes, Eureka, this is it. It was that we should be prepared to buy things with the intention of still loving the way that they look when they're all beat up and worn in. And I still love these just as much as when I first added them to my wardrobe and they were pristine. And I think that's just a really good framing or framework to have when you are adding anything to your closet, is to think, well, I love this when it's starting to look a little bit old. And just a couple of accessories favorites, things that I was wearing on repeat, my View sunglasses, which I just think are such a pretty unique shape. And I really love that this brand has a limited run of each of their styles. So you're one of 300 or 400 people who own those sunglasses, and there are no more made. And I think that definitely adds to the appeal of them, especially living in an age where sometimes I feel like everyone is dressing the same. Check my Substack on that. I'm gonna link that down below. And then when it comes to jewelry, my most worn earrings, definitely my little pave diamond hoops from Majuri. Also these teardrop earrings from Pamela Card. They're kind of the statement earring that I tend to reach for all the time. I love the texture to them. I also was wearing my little diamond studs from Linya Loads as well, because that was such an easy go-to. And then my Majuri garnet heirloom ring is a favorite and something that I can't stop wearing. All very simple, but I feel like there's just a little touch of personality attached to each piece. So that kind of wraps up my autumn most worn items. I hope that you found this interesting, helpful, especially if you are kind of heading into the autumn season. I know many of you live in the Northern Hemisphere. Hope you're getting excited about all the layering, because it's definitely my favorite part about autumn fashion. Thank you so much for watching, spending some of your day with me. As you know, I'm always so grateful. And if you do have any particular styling requests, throw them down in the comment section below, as I always love getting feedback from you on what you would love to see from me. If you are new here and you want to see more of my videos, I'd love for you to subscribe. I share lots of styling advice, brand reviews, and also ways to restyle and remix your wardrobe. I hope you have the most beautiful week ahead, and I will see you next time with a brand new one. See you soon. Bye.